So when you're getting interested in this subject, into non-duality or spirituality or Buddhism or Hinduism, whatever spirituality it is, you begin to hear from people this concept of you have to, you begin to hear of this concept of having to drop into the body. I'm sure you've all heard that concept before, like drop into the body. Drop into the body of what's happening. And I just want to explain what that means in regards to non-duality, like how that fits in with non-duality. So to me, when I'm saying to people drop into their body, which isn't something I normally do that much actually, but I kind of think it sometimes when people are speaking to me that they've got to come in more contact with their body. But when I'm speaking to a lot of people in non-duality, they're like, oh, the last thing I want to do is go into the body or go into sensations. They want to learn that they're not the body, that they're not the feelings, the thoughts, the sensations, the experiences, the actions. But something that happens as you get more into this subject is that as you begin to explore the body and begin to explore sensations, rather than trying to get away from the body and trying to get away from sensation, you begin to realize that there is no body. So in the beginning, you think that there is, when you first get into the subject, you maybe think that there is consciousness behind, or consciousness that is outside the body, and it's looking through the body at this world, and that's who you are, and you've got to disidentify from the body and move to consciousness. But as you get more and more into the subtleties of it, you realize that consciousness isn't separate from experience, that consciousness is experience. So the hearing and the heard are the same, the feeling and the felt are the same, the taste and the food or whatever is being tasted is the same, the smell and the smelled are the same. That it's not that there is consciousness that's conscious of all of that, it's the very experience that is consciousness. So it's the sound of my voice now to you, which is consciousness. So your mind might be trying to divide it all up and have an imagination of what consciousness is and think consciousness is behind my personality structure, it's watching my personality structure and then it's watching Lisa. Whereas actually, as you begin to really explore the subject, you'll begin to see that the appearance of me, that the sound of my voice, that all the appearances in this room are consciousness itself. They are consciousness. Isn't that sweet? But what tends to happen in this subject, which a lot of people don't want to explore, is there has to be a dropping into the body. So normally when the person's identified, it's sort of pulled itself out of its body and it lives in this image of itself that's held inside the mind. And it imagines itself going through the world. So it imagines itself coming into this room and sitting down. It imagines itself going for a walk. It imagines itself going to work. It imagines itself exploring the world or doing different things. So it's always imagining itself. And believing that that is who it is. That I am this imagination that's happening inside my head, like I know myself. Like, so most people now in this experience, they believe more that they are a past action, that they're somebody that's come from the past and sitting listening to me, than actually the very experience of listening to me. So they're more convinced that they're the story of who they are rather than actuality of who they are, the actuality of what's happening. And in what's happening, there is sensation. And when you really know sensation, you'll see that there is no difference between the sensing and the sensed, that it's one movement happening. not two, not a divided experience. In your imagination, when you believe you're this person that's walking around the world and you have this image of yourself, whether it be someone that's really amazing or someone that's not good enough, that's made lots of mistakes, whatever your image of self is, that isn't who's experiencing the world. That's something that you're imagining. So you're imagining this person that's come and listening to me, that's going to go somewhere after this. And that's not the experiencer, that is the experienced. So what does that mean? It means that there apparently has to be a moving from living up here, living in your imagination of yourself, into the direct experience of the body. And then eventually what will begin to be seen is there is no body. So what's actually happening now in your body? What are the sensations? So if you shut your eyes for a moment, you have this image that you're maybe this triangle or this body sitting here with shoulders and legs, and like I'm sitting like a triangle, my legs cross-legged, that's why I say a triangle, but if you're not sitting like that. So just put your attention into your body. And where is the boundary between you and what you're sitting on? Where is the boundary between your skin and the outside world? And where is this consciousness that's experiencing it all? Notice that the consciousness is the experience. And this is why who you truly are is endless, it's infinite, it's not a size, because consciousness is the experience. It's the wall behind me, it's the clock, it's my face, it's in your room, the wall behind you in your room, it's your computer, it's the feelings in your body, it's the breeze that's happening outside, the greenness of the trees, it's everything. And that's who you are, the consciousness that's experiencing right now. And in that appears an image of someone that arrived in this room, but that image of that person isn't you. While you're identified with it, you're locked inside your head and you're a limitation to what you believe yourself to be. And most people have negative self-images. Not all people, like it's different for everybody, but a lot of people have negative images of themselves. They feel themselves to be not good enough in relationship to the world, to be not rich enough, to be not good looking enough, to be not successful enough, to have made wrong choices. And then they sort of carry that image of themselves around in every experience. And then life begins to take on board what they believe themselves to be. So if you have low self-esteem and you feel like you're always making mistakes, then it tends to be that's what life looks like, that your life is a mistake. Or if you always feel like you're never at home, or that you're always in the wrong place, or you can't make a choice, then you tend not to commit to anything, and then you tend to have no choices because you haven't committed to anything. There's nothing to choose between because you have nothing. So then it enhances that complexity with choice, and that difficulty with choice, and that feeling of being stuck, that feeling like you've got no choice, or the feeling that choices are too complex.